you an idea. So if I leave at 54, I'm going to lose 49% of my pension. Okay? Again, this is assuming I don't have my 80 points. You can see if I go at 45, I'm losing 71% of my pension. So the moral of the story here, unfortunately, is you don't really want to retire early and take these penalties. People say, why is it so severe? Basically, if there was no penalty, we'd all be retiring early and everybody would be pulling their money out. Okay, that's the sad truth of the matter. But you can just take a gander. Even at 64, you're losing 6%. And then again, you can see it's pretty drastic, okay? And again, this is your simple 6% compounded. Terminations. If you have not met the requirement milestones of 25 years of qualifying service or 80 points or age 65, you have a couple options. You have options for cash refund, commuted value transfer, deferred unreduced pension, or immediate reduced pension. Okay? So being eligible for an immediate reduced pension, in other words, you're under 70 points or under age 55, you do not qualify as a retiree. The applicable options are dependent upon your age and qualifying service at your date of termination. Termination options. So 10 years prior to an unreduced pension, or less than 70 points, or age 55. I'm sure you've all heard the term lump sum. It was big during the ERIP days. That's your commuted value transfer. Or, again, you can leave early and not take a penalty by just doing a deferred pension. You just take your pension at 65. Okay? The commuted value transfer option. So yes, effective December 1st, 2022, the CVT, which is the commuted value transfer, is available to all members who terminate prior to the early retirement, regardless of age. So this option continues to be available after termination, but before payment of pension and before eligibility to an unreduced pension. So the CVT amount can increase or decrease over time. We'll go over it. You can actually pull this up on AeroNet to see your lump sum. It's not hidden. You used to have to call to get that number. Now you don't have to. Combinations of age and service, 70 points. Options for either a commuted value transfer, immediate reduced pension, or deferred unreduced pension. So again, you can defer to 65 to avoid the penalty. Pension options, survivor benefits. You've got choice of 50%, joint survivor 50%, or joint survivor 60%. All this means 60% benefit means your surviving spouse will be entitled to 60% of your pension. This is the default. Okay? You can lower it to 50% through an awful lot of paperwork, and your spouse will get 50% of your pension. Okay? Those are your options. Again, only your spouse can waive the right to receive that 60% benefit. You cannot make that decision for them. I have never had anyone, and like I said, I've probably sat with about 400 people over the years. I've never had anybody take the 50%. I had one gentleman that tried, and his wife was present, and it didn't go well. So, just saying. Calculations are based on the joint survivor 50% benefit option. There is a pension reduction, 1 to 3%, if you receive the joint survivor 60% survivor benefit option. So what that means is your monthly take-home is slightly less with the 60%, very slight, okay? You can't change your mind. Once you make your pension option for the 50 or 60%, it's irrevocable after your date of retirement. And you're going to find a lot of the decisions you make you have to be very sure of when it comes to pensions, okay? All right, this just gives us an example when I was talking about the differences. So basically this just shows us, so here's the higher to 65. All right, so you've got the 50% option, 2,515, and then your survivor pension would be 1,257, so 50%. 60% pension, you're getting slightly less, 2,491, and your survivor pension would be 60% of that, 1,494. You're higher to 65, so you just see the slight differences here. That's all we're trying to show you here. Okay? Beneficiaries. So you have one primary and multiple contingent beneficiaries. You can assign percentages for each contingent beneficiary. This is important. Spouse and beneficiary are not legal equivalents, okay? The spouse has the legal primacy and is a lifetime survivor benefit. Beneficiaries, this is important, are only entitled to any unused portion of your own pension contributions on the event of your death after retirement without a spouse. So for example, this happened to me. I had two brothers working in Toronto. Both were single. The one passed away. The other was the beneficiary. Well, the one brother lived about 3 years after he retired. Well, his pension, he ate up about 90 or 100,000 in those 3 years. That exceeded his contributions into the plan. So therefore, his brother got nothing as beneficiary. Okay? Spouse is different. They get 50 or 60% of your pension.
So you're, once you've retired, if you're single when you're retired, your only option would be for the 50%, right? So if you do get married after you retire, your spouse would still be eligible for the 50% option. For how long it takes to go through, like how long you have to be married, I'm not sure if there's what the timeline would be.
There's no one can give me a straight answer on that.
For a timeline?
Yeah.
And
I guess it becomes important.
Yeah.
As you age.
For sure. I mean, I don't think it's a long process. I mean, once it was in the system, I would say.
Yeah, I think the only time it would take is just how long it would take for them to process.
Yeah.
That's not, they can't say you need to be married a year or whatever.
There's no waiting period.
That would be discriminatory.
Yeah.
There's no way they could do that. Okay? So it would just be the actual processing. Okay? This is important. Kind of what we were just talking about. Every member should always have an updated and current beneficiaries named who are not their spouse. You should always keep all your info up to date. Address, beneficiaries. Unfortunately, we never know what's around the corner. Okay. So annual pensionable earnings, all normal salary and wages shown on your payroll. We had an option to exclude overtime earnings when we started. I actually have dealt with some people that have chosen to do this when they were hired, and then they actually came back and claimed they hadn't. Believe it or not, Air Canada is really good at record keeping for things that are in their favor, and they've actually been able to provide those original signed documents from like 35 and 40 years ago. Okay? Average annual compensation, AAC, another wonderful acronym, Air Canada, is calculated using your best 36 consecutive months earning at any time in your career, which includes if you've worked over 35 years, you can still change your best 3 years. You're not contributing anymore after 35 years, but you can still change your best 36 consecutive months. Kale is a little different. We said we didn't have any kale here. Currently our earnings cap, $94,000 is pensionable in TMOS, okay? And the 36-month period used is now shown on the calculation details on the projector, which is on AeroNet, and we're going to go through that as well. And now I'm going to turn it over to Mr.
I
Lipsit.
have a question.
Yes.
In my case, I did 25 years in call center, so I was part of two unions. So when they calculate the best 36 months, it would be the best 36 months in each union?
So that would be,
It's your best 36 months.
would be your best 36 months.
I'm in the same boat.
Yeah.
My best 3 are still call centers.
Yep.
So my pension, IMA pension is based on the money in call center?
Yep.
The formula.
Yeah, it's the formula they're using, so it's your best 36 months. Yep.
You would still have all the service that you obtained from the previous union. It's the same when people go to management, right? You still have all your service from your union years. You go into management, and you would just carry that over into your management salary would now count towards your 3 best years if you had a better 3 years as manager. Yes, I get the fun. I get the
You
fun
get the
part.
fun.
Yeah, YMP. So YMP stands for yearly maximum pensionable earnings. Does anyone know like how the YMP affects your pension or what it is? Okay. A few people nodding their heads. Most people shaking their heads. That's pretty normal. So by the end of the seminar, I really hope you know what it is because this is it's one of the major calculations in your pension plan. You're gonna have to know what this is all about. So I'll do my best to explain it to you. So yeah, it's what it is in simple terms. It's the amount of money every year that you put in. That's the maximum amount that you will put into the Canada Pension Plan, right? So if you're lucky enough to earn, I think it's, well, I'll show you on another slide. It's about 68,000 something this year. If you earn more, what is it? Sorry. There you go, 68,500. If you earn more than $68,500 this year, then at some point you will stop putting into the Canada Pension Plan. Close to the end of this year, you're getting a little bit more money on your paycheck, you'll see, and say, hey, you know, this is great, extra money. Why is it? It's because I've maxed out the amount I put to Canada Pension Plan. But every year that number goes up, and that is going to affect your plan. So it's set annually by Revenue Canada. It's used to determine the benefit and contribution levels in all Air Canada defined pension plans. So every Air Canada pension plan is like this. For all the defined benefit plans, it is tied to the YMPE. It's used to determine your contributions to the Canada and Quebec pension plans and employment insurance. The average annual YMPE is used with average annual compensation and final average earnings as part of the pension benefit formulas. It's used along with your average annual compensation on the calculation details of the projector. So when we get into pension projections later, when you're on the website, this is one of the main factors in the calculation details, and I'll show you some. Has everyone here run a pension projection before? Yeah, most people. Good. So here is historically the YMP. You see, you go way back to 1975, and set at only $7,400. Now it's up to $68,500. Goes up every year as the average earnings of working full-time Canadians goes up. So does it. I mean, 2019, you see, it was only $57,400 at the time. That seemed like a lot of money. That's only 5 years ago, and it's jumped up $11,000 since then. It's a huge amount of money. It's harder and harder to earn the amount of money to maximize your Canada pension plan every year, which means that you're putting more into it, and at the end of the year, you're not getting as much left over. So there should be, yeah. So, see, 2019, 2024, it's gone up 19.33%. I mean, pretty much everything has gone up like that since 2019 due to COVID, but the YMP is just one other item